All right, we're live here. We are going to talk about the best Mexico run so far.
Best this year.
Hey,
Is it the best?
one.
We'll
Best
see.
ever.
Maybe.
It is.
Maybe. We'll
It is.
see. I got thoughts on that.
Well,
Oh,
we
boy.
could
I
rank
mean,
them. We
I
could
don't know
look
if-
at the rankings, but we can't.
We can't rate them.
Can't.
Jonathan is back.
Hi.
Jonathan.
Yay! Hey,
Hello.
Jonathan.
How are y'all?
Fine.
Arrivederci.
Fine.
Ciao.
Guys,
Ciao.
we're gonna talk about Mexico. I just want to say this weekend we have shows that I'm going to be helping to produce in Burlington, Vermont. Reprise. It's this band's debut shows. You can get tickets on the Nectar's website, live at Nectar's. We're also, this hasn't been announced anywhere yet, so this is a worldwide premiere announcement that the shows will be streamed via our friends at Volume. So we can put the links in the show notes, but if you go to Volume and search Nectar's, you'll see it. But we're going to stream both nights, so it's going to be fun. And they're going to be playing 2 Fish shows in their entirety.
What?
Yep. And we're
That's
going
It's gonna be
to,
amazing.
and we're going to announce. We're actually going to announce. This is the only time we're ever going to do this. We're going to announce tomorrow which shows they're going to cover. So
That's exciting.
I think it's slightly controversial, but I want people to know what this is all about. Yeah, that's the only filter is, does the show have possum? All right. Well, there's no more fish news, is there?
And there may be a little.
I mean, that's not even fish news, but
Look,
Jonathan,
I'm
is there
only
any other fish
here
news?
to talk about the new fish news, RJ. I am here strictly. No, that's not the only reason I'm here.
Yeah,
but I
dude.
am
Let's
here.
talk Spectrum 97. How about it?
That's old news, right? Did we surely we talked
Yeah.
about that on here?
Yeah.
We
right?
did.
I think we did.
I
What
mean,
do you
I
got?
may have
I'm
missed
very
it.
excited.
What else happened?
Well, tickets.livefish.com is down right now, which is pretty awesome because I just clicked on the fish.net website, fish.com website to get the tour dates because there's tour dates. Did you know?
Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I need to wear my Wooooooo sweater today. Excited.
I saw that the site was down. Is it still down? That's
Yeah, I
strange.
just tried to go to it, but that's okay because I have a backup source of information called the internet.
Wow.
And yeah, they
Mexico
are
is so good. The site got crashed because everybody's so
everybody's
bummed.
so psyched that they
Yeah.
need to request every single ticket for all of these Midwest shows, I guess.
I just requested tickets that I will surely not get, and we'll have to deal with the public on sale in 10 days.
You know it.
I know what's going to happen. Yeah, we've got multi-night runs through the Northeast, the return of fish to the Northeast. Although all my friends in the Boston area are upset that it's Great Woods, Mohegan Sun. What do we got? Grand Rapids for the first time since '98. Is that
Wait, is that
accurate?
true? So
Thank you.
you guys know this is my hometown, and I saw my first show there in 1994. I'm going to go back this summer and see a show almost 30 years later. How
That's pretty sweet.
fucking cool is that? I'm so
That's pretty
excited.
sweet.
Yeah, I'm
pretty great.
excited.
Alpine
great.
Deer
Yeah.
Creek, St. Louis. What else we got? Bethel again. Oh my God,
Bethel?
they're making a return
Yeah,
to Bethel. This
Bethel.
is like a
Three
normal
nights
thing.
at Bethel.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's going
That
to
was
be
such
a
a-
hard and coveted ticket coming right
Yeah.
before Mondegreen. And then they're going to
Everyone-
play somewhere in Colorado later. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows about
and
that, for sure.
my home has been listed on CID Entertainment as a travel package. You will get a complimentary chicken curry salad with your stay and
Those are so
one
good.
Amazing.
one trip to the airport on Monday. So I don't care if you're flying out at 5 or 9 a.m. I will take one drive to the airport.
Do you also pick up from the airport, or is it just
Sometimes.
a drop
Take
off?
the
Okay.
train.
Sometimes I think. Oh yeah, Jonathan, you took the train and I met you halfway. That's what we did. And,
Yeah.
and then
I was
I
like,
got you, and we went
you're
right to
in
our
your
Taper's Choice
backyard, I
show.
think. Yeah. And then
Yeah, we hung out on the back patio, and then we went and did some stuff. It was fun. Yeah, no, but very, very, very excited.
I
What,
think you're
what
missing
do you
out though,
guys-
if you don't take the train in from that airport because it's shockingly far. And
It's insane how far it is.
Jonathan, what are you most excited about here in this announcement?
Well, I mean, I personally am going to go on Willie Nelson Bob Dylan tour, but I think this announcement looks fun for everybody in the Midwest. Frankly, if you are a Midwest Fish fan, especially if you were not planning to come to Dover, then you've got so many options, right? You could go to
Yeah.
Alpine, you could maybe
You can
you
hit,
down
like,
near
10
St. Louis,
shows.
you could go to Deer Creek, Grand Rapids, that's out there somewhere, right? And
Yep.
yeah, I think it's pretty cool for those people. If you are in the Mid-Atlantic or the Southeast and you're not going to Dover, too bad.
Yeah.
Do we think that this means that there will be a fall tour through the Southeast, or are we not willing to think that far ahead?
Mm.
I think if they sell all these tickets, there might be.
I'm into selling all these tickets.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Who knew it was about selling tickets? I thought it was just
I don't
about.
know.
I thought it was just about having
I
fun.
thought it was just about jams.
The friends we make along the way.
It's all
Yeah.
about that. It's the vibes, man. As
It's all
long as
about
they're good.
vibes.
I mean, that's the only reason Trey still does it is for the vibes, and
That's
so
true.
he can afford those
And
sweet,
to melt
sweet like
faces.
jackets of really light, breathable cotton. Yeah,
Just to melt faces. That's why Trey does it.
It's true.
12,
so.
12 different button-down jackets.
I
that
feel
he
like we
wears
are
open
transitioning to talking about
Unbelievable.
Mexico right now, and I just want
We
to
are.
say my
via
dude was
wardrobe.
dressed well, and
He always
and it's
is.
clear that he does want to melt faces, and he was having a good time doing it.
Yep.
Well, before we go to Mexico officially, I want to just we're coming. We announced last week that next week's tour recap is going to be Spring '94, and we got a voicemail about related to Spring '94, sort of, which I want to play for you guys. Because
Sort of.
I just think this is an interesting take. I mean, I could save it for next week, I guess, but
I skipped
now-
spring '94, so don't make
Well,
that mistake.
we'll see if you skip this one. Let's see what this guy says.
To the Pod Gang, I just want to say the tour that we're all forgetting is the tour that didn't happen, and that is fall 1993. If you think about how they were playing in August of 1993 and how good New Year's was in 1993, and that the time in between did not have a tour, that we really just got the recording of Voice, which is good, but I would have rather had fall 93. Maybe if fall 93 happened, we wouldn't have got such a big year in 1994. Maybe they would have played less shows. Whatever it was, we missed out on a lot of great music that would have happened in fall 93. It is an omission. And for some reason, I feel like it should be one of the best tours in Fish history. All right.
So what do you
If
guys
they
think
had-
about that?
If they had played a fall '93 tour, it would have been good. But they didn't. Instead, they went in the studio and made such awesome music that they had to basically debut the big jam centerpiece at New Year's, right? So
Yeah, I
don't
think that
there's
this-
a loss.
It all worked out.
I think that this is like a big picture.
doing
It's
okay.
okay. Small picture. Yes. Of course, we would have loved more Fish coming off of August 93. I think it also brings up a really interesting point when you think about the potential around fall 2003, fall 2015, fall 2017, these like really, really great summer tour years where the band got really deep and really dark and really interesting. And what would have happened had they gone into an arena again? Obviously, 2017, most of that tour is in an arena, but it kind of like opens the what if bubble in Fish history, which is always a fun game to play.
My favorite thing is how Fish fans will just hold on to things for 30 years and still be like let down about it. It's just
Yeah, that guy,
great.
he's been fuming about this since October 1993. And,
Pretty
I
awesome.
love it. Yeah.
I'm
It's pretty
impressed.
great. Yeah, it's pretty great.
We should do a full episode of our grudges that we hold against Fish at some
Yeah.
point
Best-
this year.
the best tours that never happened.
Yeah,
that would be
Let
true.
go.
The top tours we wished happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Summer 2020
So
was going to be banging.
it was. All right. So next week we're going to talk about Spring '94, which is going to be a pretty serious discussion because there's 1,000,002 shows. All right. So guys,
So much.
we're
So
going to
much.
start. We're going to start with this. What's the big story from Mexico? What's your number one headline from Mexico, Brian? In a strange twist, Megan and I stayed home and you went to Mexico.
Yeah, what the hell?
I know. It's not going to happen again. RJ, and I'll make sure of it.
Brian, what is it? What is this? What is the headline?
Free tacos in a venue are always a good thing.
Done.
No. Wow, you really want me to start with my hottest take, or do you want me to start with my medium
Ooh.
take?
It's up to you,
Big
man.
headline.
Yeah. We're
Big
going for the
headline.
clicks.
Fill
You know,
all of
probably.
the space.
The clicks.
Based off of a few conversations I've had, and based off of thinking far too deeply about things as I'm wont to do, my big headline is that this was the sound check for the Sphere.
Ooh.
I'm happy to elaborate, but that's
Yeah,
my
well,
headline.
do.
If you want-
Wow. I like
give
it.
give us the lead.
So I've been thinking about the Sphere, and I've been thinking about the fact that they sold the shows as 4 unique Fish shows, which is a very strange thing to sell for a band that has never once played the same set list twice. Every show is unique, even the ones that we don't necessarily enjoy. They're all unique. They all have their moments of, wow, I've never seen the band do this before. To me, what I imagine the Sphere is going to be much more improv heavy than song heavy, because we are playing in front of massive visuals. I would imagine it will be similar to how like the drive-in jam was approached, which would make it extremely unique. Music the band has never played before, 1, 2, 3, 4 nights in a row. And I got the sense watching the band, I mean, I got so close for all of these shows. It was so awesome. It's so easy to get so close and have tons of space. And I just had moments during the Wave of Hope and the Chalk Dust specifically where I was like, this jam is about to end. And then someone plays something and the whole band jumps on it, and they stretch that idea out for another 10 minutes, which anyone who knows me knows that that is like the only thing that I am chasing with this band at this point in time, almost 100 shows into this whole thing. And to me, that was like, they're trying to see what happens when they reach the end of an idea. Can we pick up on another idea? The same way that you heard, if you listen back to the drive-in jam, those ideas last for about 5 to 7 minutes. They start to die down, and then someone else has to take them, and it has to match kind of what the visual cue is that they're seeing. So that is my short and long headline.
I would counterpoint. I tend to agree with you, I will say, but my counterpoint to the Sphere bit of it is that, and the unique experience bit is that, I think that U2 is playing this basically the same show every night, and they were trying to make very clear to everyone, even though they don't really have to, because they should have known Fish fans would sell it out, that this isn't that.
Right.
I hope that it's more what you're saying, but my suspicion had been up to now that it was probably at the very least like new visuals every night and a Fish show. But maybe it is that, and that would be amazing. And it seems like they are primed.
Yeah, I I was gonna say, just one of my headlines is like these jams remind me more of like a 94, 95 approach in terms of like
Totally.
many segments, and there's like different ideas, as opposed to like 97 or 99 jam where it's just like a single thought that kind of stretches on forever. I feel like that lends itself to what you're saying, Brian, in terms of like alternating visuals and you know, like you could see how that stuff would be laid out in the Sphere. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I
Well,
hadn't
and
thought about that.
To add to that, because I agree with the 94, 95 approach, those jams very differently from like big jams from 2017 or even like 2021. Those jams don't find a natural peak as the conclusion. Like there are peaks within, namely the Chalk Dust and Wave of Hope, but it's more about just kind of what is the atmosphere of the jam and how do we explore within this, and then when that idea is over, where does the next idea come? It's not about finding this glorious peak that we rise to, and that to me would match visuals better than like the heroic turn on the white lights, everybody's losing it type of like the Chalk Dust from Baker's Dozen type of jams.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I hadn't thought about that, about it being kind of a sound check for the Sphere. That's really interesting, and it makes sense because my idea is that Trey really came in the band, I guess, too, with an intent, or the intent to jam. And that was very obvious. And I think from Birds of a Feather on Thursday night all the way through the first set of Saturday was probably some of the most best consecutive fish I can remember hearing. I'm not that great at remembering all the shows, but when I think about when I've been that captivated by a run, it's been a really long time. I think that I've been captivated by shows or jams all the time, but to have that consistently good level of playing with that many like intense jams, I don't remember a time. And I think about the type of jamming it was. It's the type of jamming you'd expect to see on like 12:30 at MSG, or like 2 weeks into a run at like a Midwestern, arena. It's not the type of jam a band plays on the beach for a vacationing crew in their 41st year. It's just not. It's wild. And it was so thrilling. And
It's
I
not
think
Dave
that,
and Tim the weekend
yeah,
before.
exactly. It's not chill. It's intentional, and the mastery that they showed over their gear and their effects and the soundscapes, it was completely captivating. I can't remember a time that I was on the couch that I felt like I did this weekend.
So that kind of leads to my big headline, if I may, which is that Fish played multiple complete shows back to back in 2024, an even numbered year.
Yeah.
Fish came out and really delivered. Not just like, oh, there's this good jam, but the other set is kind of bullshit, or none of that. None of that. Like, even the haters are lining up going, yeah, it's pretty good. Because
Yeah,
it's
you can't
it's
deny
better
it.
than that, but even the haters can't really deny it. Absolutely just stunning play. Even the first night, which doesn't like get it will never get lauded the way the rest of the run will be, and it maybe it doesn't deserve to, is actually pretty good for a set of songs and a one set show. It doesn't ever really go hard except for like a little bit of Down with Disease. I think Brian, you and I texted about that, and but
It had
it's not
moments.
bad.
It had moments for sure. I
Yeah.
think that whatever was going through the band's mind, and whatever, like, you know, intentionality or not, or just like spur of the moment, who knows. There were certainly moments on the first night, the last few minutes of the Disease, the life-saving gun
It was hot
specifically.
right in
Yeah.
the middle. It got
Um,
really intense and
oh,
weird, and yeah.
yeah, like that, like the whole place just like shifted when that jam started, and then they returned to that a night later, and then that was the space we lived in.
I mean,
Yeah.
Meg, you're not wrong in calling out like from Birds of the Feather on, like is when it was like to the
That
max.
was the
But even
moment.
the first
Yeah.
chunk of that set, including My Soul, was good fish, even if it wasn't, your favorite fish, because it was My Soul or whatever, or Roger, Megan. It was all pretty good. Like I was really pleased with the consistency of play throughout the weekend, and that, again, as I say, in an even numbered year across 3 or 4 shows is pretty impressive.
Agreed.
I think another one of the headlines I had here is when a 15-minute tweezer is the 5th most interesting jam of the night.
Yeah. And that
That's
tweezer rocks too.
Yeah.
It's not like just a regular 15-minute tweezer. Like, it gets
I
wild.
went to bed before that tweezer, and which, shame on me, but I was tired because, I had only been back from Italy for a few days or whatever. So I went to bed during Wave of Hope because I was just tired. And I got up next morning and I looked at the set list and I was like, well, odds are they're out of gas, only a 15-minute tweezer. And no, totally wrong. I was totally wrong, and love being wrong about that. When I put it on and I heard that tweezer, I was like, holy crap, they're
Oh my
going
God.
for it. And yes, it ends after only 15 minutes, but we have this weird tube gym sandwich thing that was really cool too. So can't hate it.
When they dropped into that tweezer, I was like, this guy gives zero fucks. Like, it was just such a badass move to do. Like, I'm just gonna drop tweezer here because I can. It was so good.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a moment of complete shock. And I mean, I think the other thing, just from like a big theme standpoint, the relationship between Troy Anastasio and John Fishman, you think it peaks and you think at various stages of their career it peaks, and their collaboration and their ability to just communicate via music, that like whatever happened when Trey heard this guy drumming in the middle of the afternoon his freshman year in college, uh there is no end. Like there's no bottom to what these two can do. And there's so many moments listening back to these, and there's so many moments in the moment watching it where they're just playing off of each other, and they're playing like everything that we talked about loving last year, from the spring to the joyful jamming of the summer to kind of the darkness that reemerged in the fall, to even like honoring their greatest story on New Year's Eve. You see that continuing, and there's always that kind of wonder, like, well, they just finished a really big year. Is the next year going to be something of a transition? And who knows what this year has in store? But what we know right now is that those two can continue making music together in a way that like showcases their friendship and their dedication to each other. And then beyond that, like, I mean, this was my favorite Mike Gordon I've heard. I don't even know how long. He was so
Totally agree.
loud. He was so in command. There were jams where it clearly shifted based off of what Mike Gordon was doing, talking about the life-saving gun. Like, I just watched him and Fishman the whole time because neither one of them were doing anything very complicated. They were just holding down this groove, but Mike was the one who drove all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
the rhythm this week, like the rhythm undercurrent was so strong that like that allowed, Paige and Trey to just like go off. And that was what made the soundscapes, I think, truly like moving. I kept thinking that. I was so blown away by the rhythm. Mike has a new bass, right? Sounds amazing. Is he
So
playing that all the time during the run, or
I had trouble keeping track
Auto?
because it looks the same, but it's a longer scale length to his other
Yeah,
Sarek bass. So I don't know if he was switching off. I know he played the newer one on the sound check because he talks about it after the big
yeah.
jam. You can hear him talk about it. But eh, I don't. I have to think he must have been, but I don't know. And either way, dude was definitely killing it. Everybody was playing
Yeah.
very well, and it's a good fish band.
They're kind of good.
Yeah. Guys, okay, so here's a question for everybody. What is your one keeper if you could only keep one jam from the weekend? What
Wow.
would you take with you?
Jockguest.
Not you. I can't do that.
I think I would take the last 10 minutes of the Wave of Hope. They reached a place musically. I mean, two things happened. One, I'll just speak personally. Like the last 30-minute jam I saw was Coventry Split Open and Melt, and around 26 minutes into the Wave of Hope, I jot down when this song begins, and so I knew where we were at, and I was like, going in my head, like, how many 26-minute long jams have I seen? I've never seen a 27-minute long jam. And I was just like, and then I started to see, and as the band keeps jamming, I was just like, this is going to happen. And, then it went past the Coventry Split Open and Melt, and I was kind of losing it. But musically, they reached a space that the only other time I've heard them play like this is like midway through the Tower Jam when it gets really quiet and dreamy, and also towards the, in quotes, quadraphonic toppling segment of the Cypress Sand. Sorry, Meg.
You just have to laugh about it now.
I do. Where it's like, it sounds like the type of music that you can only play in the middle of the night when you've been playing music for 5 or 6 hours. And they've talked about, like Paige talks about it brilliantly in the It DVD, that like sometimes you have to play through a lot of challenging music to get to a point where you play music that is completely transcendent and outside of your own personal way of thinking and outside of your own consciousness. And that was that music for me. Like, if I could take anything from this run, and honestly, and this is maybe overreaction, but whatever, if I could take any 10 minutes of Fish I've ever seen in my entire life, it would be that.
Got it.
So
What about
that's
you, Jonathan?
good. I can't compete with that answer really, but I honestly think that the Axilla coda was
That was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
fucking amazing. I listened to it again today, and it's just so good. And to play that and then just like put their instruments down and
Oh.
walk
I
away,
know. That was so
like a
badass.
walk off
That was
with that
so badass.
jam. Fuck yes,
Fucking mic
It was
drop.
so awesome.
Oh.
Ah,
Oh.
Also, will that-
but everything you guys said too.
That's another question that I have, which I'll tell you mine in a second. But we were talking about Shipwreck a week or two ago. So
I know, that was weird. I think they're listening to us.
Are they listening?
That was weird. That was really weird.
All right.
Which one do you think is actually listening? Because I don't think Mike.
I don't know.
I mean, it would seem like it would be Mike. I think it'd be funniest if it was Paige.
It's Fishman. It's Fishman listens. He
If
listens
Paige is
and
like-
laughs at all the dumb shit we say, and he goes into the rehearsal. It's like, you gotta hear
These
this.
idiots.
Because these guys, they think that we, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good guess. That's a
So
good guess.
funny.
I would take the Wave of Hope also. I mean, the Chalk Dust is outrageous, but the Wave of Hope is there's something about the way that it flows that I think is like a little more cohesive. Like I think the Chalk Dust is just like there's just so many different things
Really?
going on. But I like it. Like I love the layers. I love it's just them adding layers and changing dynamics constantly, and it's all flawless and great. But the Wave of Hope kind of like I feel that like is a more listenable piece of music going back.
That's so
Like it
interesting. I
deeply
feel like I
weird.
need to listen to them back to back because I haven't been as transfixed by a jam as I was with Chalk Dust since 12/30/19. There's
Who's
just
got that kind of
something-
time?
There's just something about this jam. It has such a narrative arc. It's like a story being told. It's so unhurried. And it starts with that like adrift kind of floating feeling. And then it moves through so many different sections. I mean, you've got like your funk, like industrial funk. You've got like your digital soundscape, that like apocalyptic sound. You've got like that like urgent escape route feeling. And then you're like following the bubbles deeper and deeper. And then you're like clutching the rhythm. And then there's like a lifeline as the world falls away. And then there's like this march of the like weary but determined survivors at the end. And then the end is like you get to the shore and then there's the boat that's going to like take you away and save you. And you like look back and you're like watching where you used to live. It's so dramatic. And it's like my favorite thing I've heard in years. I've played it 3 times, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is for someone who, is doing their best to make the time to listen to 4 fucking nights of music and have a job in a real life.
It's 40 minutes long, so 3
It's 40
times
minutes
is a good
long.
chunk of change.
It's a good chunk of time. I'm obsessed with it. I love it.
I have
So-
definitely started it a couple times and not been able to finish it for that reason because it's like
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to this in the background. I have to. I think I would just give like just 2 quick additional highlights to the Birds of a Feathers we talked about, which
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's when I first texted you. I didn't even realize you were there. And I was
oh
like,
yeah,
Oh, you
holy
did?
shit. Well, how did that set happen?
I I went to when they started My Soul. I turned to my wife and I said, "I'm going to the bathroom," and I was just not very happy.
I knew it. I texted. I was like, bathroom break. I knew
And
Brandon's going to the bathroom right now.
and the way that there's
That
no
was the line.
service up by the stage, but as you get back towards the food vendors and the bathroom, suddenly you get service again. And so I started getting all these texts of people laughing at me or telling me to go take a piss. And I responded to everyone that, this set deserved My Soul. And then as I was coming back, they started Birds, and I was like, okay, maybe we have something here. And then it just kept going. And when you listen back to it, without the anxiety that someone like myself feels, where it's like, are we going to cross that line? Are we going to keep going? When you listen back to it, just with like the pure enjoyment, the insanity that John Fishman's playing with just like blows my mind. And then another one is the Kill Devil Falls, which Kill Devil Falls was a huge jam in 2023. And it's only 12 minutes here, but man,
11:59.
it gets everything out of those,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
drops into this like dance space that like that is some grooving fish that is like you pluck 1998 fish and put it in with all of these new effects and new ideas, or 1999, that kind of like millennial dance space that fish could get into, it is some just stunning stuff. So I mean, it's scattered, everything's all over the place, there's so much.
I think the
So
Wolfmans is something I want to mention too, as just being so much fun, just like such a fun funk jam. And there wasn't like a ton of that this weekend, but this one is so dancey and just buttery, silky smooth. And then they have these like really shimmering spaces in the crescendos. And I've listened to this a few times too, and I love it.
I want to follow on Brian's mention of Kill Devil Falls for one reason, maybe two reasons, because the segue into Waiting in the Velvet Sea was gorgeous. And they did that earlier in the set too with Ghost and Fast Enough for You, like two like perfect, like these are, and actually that 1-2 punch of Set Your Soul, Ghost, both of those, I was surprised the next morning to look at the timings and see, or it was actually really when I went to bed to look at the timings and see they were both under 11 minutes because they both like got there quickly, satisfied, and then, you know, one turned into Ghost and then the other eased into Fast Enough for You. They were just playing with such great control throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
That
Totally.
I had a great time with it.
We are going to get to individual highlights. I just want to tell everybody that, so don't feel like you have to go through.
I didn't
all
know
of
if we
them
were
right now.
in there.
Too late.
Now.
We're not. We're not.
No, I haven't even
But-
talked about the stuff I really liked.
Brian,
Okay,
sorry.
good.
Go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to note that was my first Fast Enough for You since Coventry, and I realized that in the moment, and I was just like, I was trying to think back, when have I last seen this? And they opened the final set of Coventry with Fast Enough for You. It's one of the few brilliant decisions of that. Like, you hear that message based on like, we're about to break up. Like, was this, you know, I mean, all the lines in that song that just break your heart, and to get that third song of the show out of Ghost in that way was just, man.
All right, let's do a very quick break, and then let's talk about our individual highlights. How's that sound?
Great.
Okay. We're back. Thanks for hanging with us. Okay, before we get into the highlights, I just want to play one more voicemail. Brian, we have some Brian meets Brian stuff we got to go through here.
Oh, I know who that is.
Hello, HF Pod. This is Brian from the Attendance Bias podcast. I just want to share one or two. First, say how much fun it was to meet and hang out with Brian Brickman for just a little bit before one of the shows, but still recovering from this 4-night run, this amazing 4-night run, and just reflecting on how much Fish did and how much they didn't do, that they didn't play so many of their most beloved prog rock inspired songs like Reba, Split Open and Melt, David Bowie, You Enjoy Myself, Divided Sky, pretty much all of Junta, almost. And very few, if any, Gamehenge songs, depending if you consider Possum one or not. But they still pulled off back-to-back shows with incredible jams, deep stuff that I don't think I've heard the like of since maybe 1999, 2000, or anything as groundbreaking since maybe 2013 or 2015. So I think their message is, you know, we played Gamehenge, we granted every fan's dream on New Year's Eve, and now we're going to play mostly everything new within the past, 5 or 10 years, and we're still going to blow your mind. We're not a nostalgia act. We're never going to be a nostalgia act, and if you come and show up, you'll be rewarded. So I have a lot more to say to it, but again, I have my own podcast for that. But thank you for podcasting. I can't wait to listen to your Mexico episode.
Thanks, Brian.
Brian.
Awesome.
Brian, do you want to say? I want to kick off this segment, but I want you to
Please.
respond if you want to say anything. You should probably
Well,
say
I
that it was
just-
nice to meet him.
Yeah, I should probably, right? No, it was genuinely. I've podcasted with Brian Weinstein a few times. He's an incredibly nice dude, very, very knowledgeable about fish, and we were trying to connect all day. I think it was Saturday, and we would leave about an hour before doors and kind of take a golf cart over to the Nizook pool and then walk from there. And we met him there and just stroll along the beach, talked a little bit, nerded out a little bit, and then parted ways as we went into the show. I think we were in different areas inside, but it was so good to just like connect with another deep Fish nerd and be like, are we experiencing the same? Are we on the same level here? Is this just as good? It was outstanding. So very awesome, dude. But I do just want to say really quickly, his comment about the new songs is, I mean, I'm just looking back at the set list because I remember thinking it in the moment, but like Thursday, Song I Heard the Ocean Sing, I still consider a new song. Wave of Hope, Oblivion. Friday, Blaze On, Sea of Stars, Numberline. Saturday, Howling, No Men, Ruby Waves, Ether Edge, Life Beyond the Dream. Like these sets were
Yeah.
packed with new songs. These are not classic Fish shows on paper, and yet they are classic Fish shows in our ear.
The Well is going to be like a full set at the Sphere. There's just going to be a full set.
It's
at
so
the Well.
sick.
Oh yeah.
I feel like
Oh
that's
my God,
happening.
that's gonna be amazing.
Let's talk about individual highlights. I just want to say that the way that I know that these shows were great, the Thursday and Friday shows at least, and Saturday too. So remember like back in the day when you'd get the tapes and then you'd like put them on and you'd probably, be hanging out in your basement or someone's basement or something. And then like 20 minutes into a jam, you'd like forget what song it is. And then
Yeah.
you'd be like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? What song is this? And it's pretty rare that happens these days. And that happened multiple times during this run. Like, I mean, it happened to me almost every show. And to me, that's like almost the most important thing, that there's just this insane like point where you're like, what are they even doing? And that's like kind of that's one of the things we go for. I want to mention quickly, Song I Heard the Ocean Sing, Thursday. We texted about this, but it's just I'm so proud of Trey not going into Numberline, not fully going into You Sexy Thing.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
like
yeah.
amazing amount of restraint, and that jam is kind of like maybe slightly overlooked because there's so much else, but it's a really good, it's like very upbeat. But it really like pushes, and you can tell, like you guys said, sort of intentionally pushing forward. And I was thinking that maybe that's like they were just content with kind of the music happening around them, but maybe they were more intentional than I was giving them credit for. And it's probably a combo of the both, but I just want to mention that jam. Who wants to take it?
Well, so I mean, there's two gigantic tentpole jams. The 10 Minutes of the Wave of Hope is what I would keep with me forever, but I'm gonna go with the Chalk Dust as my main in the moment and re-listen highlight, which may seem contradictory, but I mean, those are, I think, two of the best jams I've ever played. And I think the thing that just made it really special for me was I went into that Friday show just being like, okay, I've seen the best. I don't care what happens the rest of the weekend. And anybody who knows me, that is not usually the way I approach individual shows.
Right.
And I thought the first set on Friday was outstanding. I thought it flowed really well. And I remember kind of at the end of the set just being like, okay, whatever happened last night has not left this band. And it's not like sometimes they'll play a great show and then the next night is almost a reset where they just play a lot of songs, and it didn't feel like that at all. It just felt like even when jams were ending, there were new ideas being picked up in the next jam. And when they went into Chalk Dust, like I really enjoyed a lot of the space that they were in Blaze On, but it felt like, and I was very close that night, it felt as though they weren't breaking through. And not that they were hitting dead ends, but like they weren't finding that one riff that they could build off of. And I remember watching them, and out of nowhere, Trey just like slides up his guitar and just goes right for the riff of Chalk Dust and kind of catches everybody off guard. And in my mind, I was just like, well, Chalk Dust is, when does Chalk Dust ever fail? Like you go into Chalk Dust and it turns into a 20-minute jam. And I was like, well, this would be cool to get a 20-minute jam after seeing a 30-minute jam. And like Chalk Dust, man, like the last Chalk Dust was MSG. And that was one of my favorite jams of all of last year. And they go into this ambient space and you talk about restraint, RJ. Like I heard Slave, I heard It's Ice. And I was just like, there are a lot of bailout moments right here. Is this working? Is this going to but ultimately they push through and they give you 8 to 9 minutes of sustained music for airports type of ambient music that is like, that is my fucking shit. And then 7 minutes later, they're going through this heavy segment, and then they just hit on a riff. And like, I was standing there kind of with my eyes closed, and I just opened them, and every single person around me was like bent over and dancing so hard, like it just
Yes.
like all in the same moment. And then there's a moment in the Chalk Dust where I was like, oh my God, like we're going to get another 30-minute jam. And then they go into this heavy segment that reminded me of the tweezer from, I think it's 624 2000, that is just like a big fat giant 70s classic rock riff that is just blown out and built and built and built upon. And when that crossed 35 minutes, and I was like, holy shit, like I waited 19 years for another 30-minute jam, and I waited 24 hours for one to beat that. Like
It's
I'm just
crazy.
I'm in fish heaven right now. And the whole, like, just standing there watching that, knowing that 24 hours earlier I had seen a jam like that, and my favorite moments from that were when I just stopped and just watched the band working. And I was going through this again, and I was just stopping, just watching them work and watching Paige and Trey interact, and then Fishman, whatever he was doing, like that will go down as probably like the best live, who knows what's going to happen going forward, but like to this point in time, that's the best live music experience I've had with the band.
Wow.
It's a pretty good review.
Yeah.
I'd
Who
like
wants
to
to
go
follow
next,
that?
'cause
I'm
I would,
doing it a little bit. I apologize.
because mine is going to be really short, because although I wasn't there, I have some very similar comments to Brian's, which is that after the previous night, I was like, well, that shit was amazing. Wave of Hope, by the way, by the end of the weekend, is the 8th longest jam that Fish has ever played. Also,
Nuts.
it's really good. This Chalk Dust is the 5th.
Wow.
Also, it's really
That's
good.
crazy.
But so after Thursday night, I was like, well, that shit's amazing. I've got definitely going to have to watch tonight, but we all know what's going to happen. I mean, I know it's not Saturday night,
Party
but
time. Yeah.
yeah, because that happens. It's what Fish
It
does.
does.
And those shows
It
aren't
is.
necessarily bad, but like, it
It's a
happens.
balance.
And
It's a yin and
then
yang.
and then they came out, and as I just was saying earlier, Set Your Soul Free goes, that first set was that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. I think I texted you guys in that first jam. I texted the group. I was like, oh, so it's going to be like that tonight, huh? And
Yeah.
and it kind of was, right? Little did I know. And kind of the same vibe when we get into set 2, Blaze On. It's cool. They're pushing. They're not hitting it the way it didn't get there. But then Chalk Dust, I was like, okay, well, it either will or it won't. I've seen a lot of Chalk Dusts. I've seen a couple that people think are really good, and this one turned out to be like, holy crap! Like, it was that thing that RJ's talking about, where I lost track. I was like, how is this still Chalk Dust? I was on one of the internet things, and somebody was like, damn, this Chalk Dust delivers, and it was still Chalk Dust playing. And I look at when he posted it, I was like, dude, that was 20 minutes ago. Like, what? And of course, we're long past Chalk Dust, and this is amazing Fish. And I think the thing that really cements it for me, though, is that then they drop beautifully into the perfect pick of
Perfect.
Beneath the Sea
my
of
God.
Stars.
So perfect.
Perfect.
Come
Oh,
on.
yes.
So this is what we
Yes.
want from that song, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
That's
not
spot.
like maybe make it 15 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever. But that's not a complaint. That's just like encouragement. It was
Keep that
so
space.
great.
And it jammed a little. It stretched out.
It did. It
Yeah.
did. And then the number line, which I think was well placed. Somebody will complain. I don't care. Fuck that guy. Number line was great there. And Hood, what a great set. This set is
Yeah.
perfect. It's
Perfect.
perfect. There you go.
100%.
Yeah.
agree.
I love
Love it.
I love it the way that dropped into Sea of Stars. It was like
Oh,
everyone got to like reflect on what was happening, Like
right.
it was
Suddenly we're
perfect.
like, oh, we're all right here in this moment. Like we've been spaced out in this chalk dust, and here we're all here together.
And the weather's fine.
All of a sudden,
It's like,
right there.
The weather
Yeah.
was fine. The weather
Yeah.
was
I
very
bet.
I
fine.
mean, God, Trey just
Nice.
nailed that. That actually is a perfect segue into something I want to talk about because, yeah, there's more jams I want to talk about. But one thing I think that they were also nailing this weekend was the ballads. They were placed perfectly and they were
Totally.
just played so well. I think about the first night, If I Could, on Wednesday. You know, this song followed Down with Disease, and it hasn't done so live since like '94 when they did the Game Hoist show. And here it is coming out. You know, it's rare still, right? Like a 34 show gap, so it's not played that often. But this version of this, it's so quiet. Trey's tone and his phrasing, it was so beautiful. This is probably one of my favorite ballads of all time, and I was crying on my couch. I couldn't get over how beautiful Trey's guitar sounded. He sounded so perfect. And then again with Fast Enough for You, you mentioned it a little bit, Brian, but just an absolutely gorgeous version. So quiet and simple and stunning. And then I thought the last one that really hit me too was Mercy. It was a perfect placement for it. And I think that was actually Trey's best vocal performance ever. It was, he just had this like kind of, I don't know, is the word like pathos? He had this like depth to his voice, this soul, this really kind of knowing sage quality that I've never heard him sing with like that confidently. And he sounded beautiful. It was such a strong moment. And I think that for him to be able to play a song that he just wrote that is so meaningful in such a great spot, I thought his set listing this weekend was on point, but I thought the ballads really stood out. And that to me is when you see this band like at just their peak too, because they can play these dark, monster, scary, evil jams, and then they can play these quiet, delicate ballads just as well.
The point where the effort to sing the song dissolves and
Yeah.
meets perfectly the emotion of the song.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
feel like that's where he was actually finding that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
100%
really
agree.
insane. Okay, well let's keep going because we're gonna, we're
Well,
not.
we need your highlight, RJ.
Yeah. Let's hear some highlights from you.
Well, okay. I mean, I guess maybe I should make my big announcement. Should I make my announcement? I'll make my announcement now.
There's an
Do it.
announcement.
Please.
Yeah,
that-
wow.
I've
RJ is
offici-
giving up fish.
I've officially
RJ's going on
changed
tour this
my.
summer.
I've officially changed my position on the howling. It's the
Go
dumb.
on.
It's a very dumb
Yes!
song, but
Oh yeah,
with
Yes!
people actually howling and then them playing the howling, and I mean I'll stand by what my previous stance, which is that it's the only good thing on Sci-Fi Soldiers, but it's
I
it's a
agree.
really it was kind of perfect to open that set, and I thought was like a really, they don't really even
Oh,
get
it's fun?
tubed to
Is that what you mean?
late.
It's like a fun song
Th-
that
yeah.
people like to dance to?
They don't
Okay,
even
It
get they
was
don't even
fun.
take
This morning.
tube
I'm
to
so
that like
happy.
It was fun.
extreme funk, it's like it's got
Yes.
edge to it that like even tube or Moma Dance or something just doesn't really get to. It's so
Yes.
that's my big
Look at
shift.
Brian. Brian's like, it was fun.
Yeah.
Can I talk about, while we're talking about fun? Can I talk about the first set of that show of Saturday? Was that Saturday night?
Oh, that show.
Simple, nice jam, Sanity, and then Chalk Dust Torture Reprise. Come on, they are in the moment with us. I love it
Ugh.
when I feel like Fish is connecting with us and having the same experience that we are, and I feel like that was the perfect example of that. Trey's like, this is what happens when you don't have a set list, and they,
Oh my God, that
they
whole
dragged that
banter
back
was
out and they had a good
amazing.
time. He asked about the full moon, and they play Wolfman so Megan can get her funk jam on, and like, so great. Just need the fun.
I thought that was an incredible first set. I thought it
Me too.
flowed really well. It way exceeded what I was thinking going in, just knowing that it was the final show and after what we had heard. I mean, Simple, they just got there immediately. The other point about like going into Sanity and like the Set Your Soul Free and Ghost from the night before and a few other moments like the Ruby Waves, Golden Age, like Tube, Jim Tube, like segues were really, really on point this entire run in a way that I feel like, I mean, there were some killer segue jams last year, like the Tweezer Simple, obviously from Berkeley, but like a lot of the time you hear Fish play something and then you'll hear a hint and they'll fade into something else. Like these were pure segues where you heard for 10, 15 seconds the idea bubbling and then the delivery of it. But I will just say, on par with the Wave of Hope and Chalk Dust was the Reprise for me.
Oh my
That's only been
God.
played 5 times. One of my very first shows was Deer Creek 2000. I've always loved just that chordal, pattern of that song. It's something that should have been utilized as like a full Fish song, but it's like a joke we get every so often. And you get that, meta kind of Trey realizing and talking about the 40-minute Chalk Dust from the night before.
Yeah.
Like I am well past the point of leaping sky high when this band walks on stage. It's more just like a old friends reunion. I leapt like 20 feet in the air when they started playing Chalk Dust Reprise, and I like I laughed so hard. I couldn't even update my set list. I was just so happy. So like that is right there with me. And that is, we're all still chasing songs. That's the beauty of this band, is
Yeah.
they're still giving us these bust outs 40 years in that some people have heard, a lot of people haven't heard. And so when you catch it, that's just like, it's pretty special.
And he's fucking with us after, because he's like, now it's going back in the vault.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he's like
Exactly, he
literally
knows.
trolling us. He's like,
Yeah.
what was it? The last time was 2017. I mean, he was wrong, but still, it was just like so funny.
Oh, yeah,
'cause
no.
he's
So
like,
wrong.
he's
Trey,
like, I'm
Trey
shutting this
doesn't
up. The vault.
know the history of Fish at all. It's kind of hilarious.
He's just busy making it.
Yeah, no, he
Right,
doesn't
right.
have to. That's our
He's
job.
like, sorry. Yeah.
Right.
He's
that
a
was
guitar player.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Jonathan, what else you got?
I mean, I think that was kind of my like honorable mention, was that Saturday, or the beginning of the Saturday set, just the good fun there, and the meta moments of the band realizing where they were. I will also say that I really liked A Life Beyond the Dream more than usual. Like I'm okay
Yes.
with this song. I know plenty of people really don't like that song. I
Okay.
really liked this one. I felt it worked well when it happened. It's played well. Trey sang it well. Like, to what you were saying earlier, Megan. I mean, I really liked it enough that I was like, I'm really digging this.
Well,
which is
one
something.
thing about that,
The best.
and this was one thing I noticed being there, like, I think one of the cool things about the Mexico run is because of the economics surrounding it, you're not just casually going to see Fish in Mexico. Like, you are going to see Fish in Mexico because this is something that means a lot to you.
Yeah.
And whereas at a lot of shows, they play a song and you'll see scattered people singing it. Every single song, even the brand new songs, I was looking around and pretty much everyone knew the words. And A Life Beyond the Dream, it really struck me because we're towards the end of the weekend. I'm being really reflective. And I was just kind of looking around, watching people. Every single person knew the verse. They knew the inflections. Like, these aren't casual, hey, let's just go check out Fish. Hey, I heard that this is a really fun band to go and take some mushrooms at. Like, these are like Fish fans that are like there.
These things are not
to
untrue,
soak up.
though.
Yes, but these are people.
They're also
that are
not
there.
mutually exclusive. Just want to
Also
No.
There's
I'm
a Venn diagram.
There's
I'm
a
sorry.
Venn
Did you have a
diagram
point,
of
Brian?
Everyone is there, like, dedicated to this band, and as a result, like, a song like that just has, it's not just Trey singing, it's the crowd singing back at them.
Yeah. This is like
Yeah.
making my life. I got people talking about Life Beyond the Dream being great, The Howling. This is just like, I'm so happy right now.
It was,
The Howling was fun.
first of all, Life Beyond a Dream is amazing, and every time they
incredible.
play it, it's fucking great.
It's a stunning song. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Noobs.
I don't
I'm
know
telling
why
you.
people seriously don't like beautiful
Who are you
songs
calling
written by their
noobs?
favorite
What?
musician.
Just
Can
anyone.
we also, as we're kind of circling the end of the run, they come out, and I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, okay, I think when I heard the chords for More, I was like, okay, More, and they've already played Zero. I was trying to go through my head, like, what is the other 5-minute rock and roll song? Maybe Santos will end this. And Trey looks back at Fishman at the end of More, and they go into 2001, and I was just like,
So good.
apparently I've now seen 2 of 3 encore 2001s, which is a weird stat
Nice.
to have. But that was a stretched out that was like full circle going back to the life-saving gun from Wednesday night, where it's like fully locked in, krautrocky, just dark
It was
grooves.
good.
And it was just it was fantastic. What a way to cap it all off.
I mean, I gotta say that they're looking at like the Sunday Mexico show from last year, which was really fun. And it's always like, now Brian, it's just about like, it's so fun. It's always so fun. But if you look at the
Shame it
Sunday
doesn't
show
count
from
for
last year,
stats. People are going to be really bummed when that fish.net cuts all your stats for those shows. Like you think you saw
vote and you
long
can't get
chalk dice.
stats for these shows.
they didn't want to stop, and I don't think Trey ever wants to
Yeah.
stop playing, but like usually they wind it down and it's like, okay, this is the end, and they play a bunch of stuff, and that's how the Sunday experiences have been at Mexico for me. And the first set's during the day, so it's great, but it's usually not very deep. It's usually like it's not like a Sunday show that we love from the days when Sunday shows mattered. But this is like, I don't want to be blasphemous, but listen to this bathtub gin from Saturday.
Yeah.
It has everything. It has the darkness, it has the bliss, it has like the layers, it has the space sound. I
100%.
mean, it has
Okay.
everything. And I was thinking that if they played another 9 shows in Mexico and they just kept going, like we would be in Baker's dozen territory. Like they would.
Oh yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what they would have done, which
They're-
maybe is the whole point of the sphere. That if they can pick that up, it's going to be fucking incredible.
They're
be incredible.
playing so well right here. That goes right back to my headline, which is like Fish played complete shows. Everything is pretty good, if not fucking amazing. And now they're just like going home. What? How are we not on the road for another 6 weeks?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. It's
I know.
amazing that they've figured out this dynamic. We talked about it last year a lot, where spring was the small little chunk and it all just hit immediately. Summer tour was this extended tour, but like had, very significant chunks, like the second song into MSG, they're playing a 20-minute Wave of Hope. Dick's had a lot of really good moments. Even fall tour, like 8 shows again, and like almost immediately. This band has kind of reached this very interesting happy medium where they seem to know from a touring standpoint what they can handle and what they want to do, and also how to come prepared to not really need like a lead in time. Like aside from like a 5 or 6 song stretch of Wednesday's show, nothing really felt like, maybe a little bit of Thursday's first set, but like beyond that, they were ready to go. They were already in mid-tour form, if not stronger.
Soundcheck Jam was good too.
Really good. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait for the Sphere. I'm not going, but I'm super excited to
Same.
hear what they're
Yeah.
doing and to hear that music, because this is a good Fish band, you guys.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're kinda
I know that they've been planning the sphere stuff for, I think it takes a really long time, right? So like,
Yeah.
Brian, your theory makes a lot of sense in that
good. Mhm.
this has been like probably the main thing they've been thinking about for, I don't know, since probably before they played the Gamhen show, probably, since last fall.
Probably.
It's a long time in the making. I know that the Dead and Company stuff is already being like figured out, for summer. So like maybe that's where we're heading here. I don't know. I have a question though to wrap up. Are we going to get more new material in 2024, and how much do you guys expect to hear new songs that we haven't heard yet?
Not till summer.
I agree with that. I would be insanely shocked if we don't get more new stuff. I just think Trey is constantly writing.
I think with the way that they're jamming, to me, it sounds like they're going to be writing together if they aren't already.
It's a really interesting way to put it. The other thing I would say is like, aside from Chalk Dust, most of the bit, like when they played Life Saving Gun on Wednesday, they had played a lot of old songs to that point in time. And
Mhm.
the second they jumped into that, like I cannot,
The doors were open. The
Yeah.
clock was on them for the
it
break.
just,
And they knew it.
was like, once that started, I was like, and suddenly Fish awoke. Like it was a
Yeah.
Fish show. It was fun. Ocelot on the Beach, man, that is my vibe. I will be there for that to the end of time. But like the band that was playing Life Saving Gun and jamming Life Saving Gun was not the band that had played for the previous hour. It just wasn't. The lights were different.
Yeah.
The band
Just
looked
lit
like
up.
intense and focused, and the music just immediately clicked. That's a new song that is probably going to take off this year. And I think that they have to know at this point what we all know: new songs are the keys. And the endless ideas, it almost doesn't matter what the song is, it's just going to lead somewhere.
So the year looks like this, right? As far as we know, they've got the Sphere. Sphere is going to be special. We're now, based on this conversation, I think we're thinking jam heavy. I think that's not crazy, probably pretty accurate, but special. Summer tour, maybe some new songs. They're going to slay. They're going to blow off a shit ton of steam by the time they get to Montegreen. Dick's is going to be good. You'll get all the leftovers in Colorado. You guys don't care. You'll
All
be
of
so
them.
high up there. in
Grand
Denver.
Rapids is
It's
the sleeper
fine.
show.
We got to have
Grand
one
Rapids is
rain
a
show.
sleeper show.
Everyone's so
Definitely
high
rain
there.
show.
Everyone's only high.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Colorado.
They're all so stoned they don't care. And then
Unbelievable.
what's the rest of the year? But which I guess we'll know
Halloween.
sometime this summer. And maybe a Halloween this summer. Not this
Halloween is
summer.
New
Halloween
Year's.
this
AC.
Halloween.
Bring it back
Halloween
to
in
AC.
AC. Yes. Yes.
Boardwalk
Let's do
Hall
it.
is a fire trap, and you will not. That place is. I was last time I was in there on November 1st, whatever that year was. They last played Halloween there. I was terrified that building, because something goes wrong, people will die. So
Yeah, but Atlantic City's terrifying in general. Like,
But then you
well,
die-
just the
But then you die
compounds
in
it.
Atlantic City. That'd be awesome.
yeah, seeing fish.
Well,
Like,
That's so
Great-
trite.
legendary.
Come on.
Great
You
end,
know,
great
they're
end.
like, I don't want to die slipping in my bathroom or in Atlantic City, because that's just it's been done.
But,
Fair.
what's your number one or last takeaway from this run? Brian, you should go first, because it was your run. It was for you.
It was for
It
me.
was for you. This one's for you.
You know what, man? I'm gonna just go off of the music, and I'm just gonna say the service staff at the Palace resorts they're fucking amazing people. I
Yeah.
was in complete awe of their service and their care and their dedication and their endless fucking work. I have not been to excuse me, I have not been to a resort like that ever. I had not been out of the country in almost a decade. I had not been to a place that reminded me of Southeast Asia in a decade. And it was this like big, remembering of what, that type of experience of being a white person in that part of the world is. And those people, man, they're not going to sit on those beachside benches and under those cabanas and have someone wait on them, but they treat you like you are in paradise, and they're so kind, and they act like they know you. And just total hats off. Like most of the time that you're there, you're not at the shows, and you're interacting with service staff that is making the experience. And I hope we tipped as best as we could, and I hope that we made their lives a little easier in that sort of standpoint. But from everyone who just out of nowhere, a golf cart would appear and would be like, "Hey, you need to go to your room. Where do you go?" "Oh, it's okay." To, you go and sit down at Los Tacos, and someone comes up and wants to, get you a drink. I had a guy who was joking around that all of my virgin mojitos were triple virgin the whole time, which, just playing around with me.
Nice.
I don't know, man. Like, they're
That's
just
awesome.
really wonderful people, and without them, the whole thing, you don't get to feel the relaxation that you are seeking, and the resort does not run the way that it needs to run for what you are trying to experience. So just total hats off to those people. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, I agree. We took our family to the Palace Cozumel in December. We're going to that. It's a ridiculous way to spend a few days just because of exactly what you're describing. Megan, what's
Yeah.
your takeaway?
Well, I think this was the best Mexico ever. And I'm just so blown away by this band that they reached this peak of delivering this Broadway level performance of, their epic story Gamehenge, which has had to be a dream of Trey's since before he even can believe that could be a dream, and to come to a beach in Mexico in their 41st year and just burn it to the ground with incredible set listing, incredible jams, banter, jokes, playing old songs, playing new songs, and just brings so much energy. I'm completely in awe of this band and just feel so lucky that we get to experience it. And it was the most intense experience I've ever had, like on couch tour. I felt so connected to the music, and I'm usually very distracted on couch tour, but I was really into it. And I think that's a testament to how strong it was.
Jonathan, what do you got?
I don't know, man. It's like Fish. They're good, right? They were good when I started seeing them. Turns out they're still good. It's been 30 years. Still good. Pretty consistent, except for the times when it's not. I'm excited for what the year holds.
Yep.
Me too.
Yep. I think Fish
RJ,
is back.
what do you got?
Fish is back, baby.
All over again.
They never left. They never
No.
left.
Well, I got some. I got some shows I could
Some
play
of
at.
us went to Alpine 22. Would argue they're definitely there, right?
I think this.
That's
I
why I'm
think,
not going. That's why I'm not
this-
going.
this-
I'm still in the 100%.
2005
broken heart
makes a
attack.
differ, actually.
we talked about the like altered schedule, and it's like it's a little bit sad, and probably it's going to cause some nostalgia because they're just not going to like do tours like they used to do, and that's like
Yeah.
getting used to that is one thing, but like putting the Sphere in the mix, putting doing the New Year, putting so much effort into New Year's, like putting more into the smaller number of shows is already like it's already paying off. I have no interest in going to the Sphere at all, but now I'm, like Jonathan said, I'm like pretty excited to see
Excited
what
to hear what they're
happens.
doing there.
Yeah.
And like they've got a bunch of the whole summer tours, multi-night runs. It's going to be a lot of fun for
Yeah.
everybody wherever they go. And I think Fish is going to be ready to deliver. And I'm curious. I really want a fall tour so I can go see them at Hampton.
Well, and you've got to imagine that
Yeah.
we're all going to have a chance to see them at the Sphere in coming years. This can't be the only time that they
Yeah.
do it. And you've got to imagine we're going to be able to, tickets will get easier as this all evolves.
Sure.
And I really hope that
Fair.
they play at Hampton so I can go see them with Jonathan.
That would be great. It's been a while.
It's been a while. All right, so next week, guys, do your homework. Spring '94.
Got a
There's
lot to
100
listen
There's
to.
100 shows, so we got to listen to them. But we're coming back next Wednesday. We only have
Mhm.
8 days, guys. So
Oh God.
I'm busy then. You
Nice.
guys have
Yeah.
a fun doing that, and
know.
I'll be back next time we do something else.
thank you, Jonathan.
Sometime.
Awesome.
It's good to
Thanks,
see you.
Jonathan.
And it's good to see everybody.
Thank you,
Brian,
guys.
what do you got to say to wrap it up?
I had planning for Jonathan's next episode, but we'll do that offline.
And nobody wants to hear that.
I can't give away what we're doing.
Nope.
Secrets.
Nope.
Secret. But you
Secret,
guys are
but
gonna like it. You guys are
you're
gonna
like
love it.
You're gonna like
Yeah, you are.
All right.